Crack testing an Austin 7 crank. I've already given it a thorough clean, but I'll give it another one just for demonstration. So I did this both sides. Then wipe it off with a clean rag. Works much better if you use two hands. So this is just a quick look, and I'll do it properly using both hands. The products I'm using are Weld products. This is their cleaner, which I've just used. This is the Penetrant. And this is the developer. Crank is cleaned. I'm now leaving it for a good few minutes to let all the cleaning fluid flash off. Now we'll apply the penetrant. On both sides. Now we have to leave it for at least 10 minutes. I'm going to leave it for 15 for that to soak in before we clean it off with a rag soaked in a little cleaner. Then we'll be ready for the next stage. Right, 15 minutes and a cup of tea later, we're going to now clean it off. Again, working one-handed, spray a bit of cleaner onto a piece of rag, then use that rag. Whoops, I meant to do it only one direction. I'll do the rest using two hands. Turned my cardboard over and cleaned the wetted, or cleaner wetted cloth, working in one direction only. We just let that dry for a bit now to make sure there's no surface penetrant on before applying developer. Right, the crank is now fairly dry, or completely dry actually, and it's time to apply the developer. Now this is the only one of the three chemicals that it says you should shake well. Right, time to apply the developer. I've shaken it for a lot longer than I showed. Right, I've hung the crank up. It's still developing, so can't actually start proper inspection yet. There's a few marks come out. Some of those might be excess surface penetrant, so I can wipe that off and reapply the developer to see if it does anything. Also around the key areas, at the back end, one of the worst places for an Austin 7 crank. Whoops, let's see if I can stop it wobbling a bit. This area around here is a classic area. All the crank pins actually, but this one takes most torque, so that could be one to watch out for. I'll film again when the developer has developed a bit more. Got a little bit of staining around the oil holes there. I think that might just be where it's run out of the hole, but I will just wipe those off and redevelop. Right, that's the developer wiped off those oil holes. We'll give it another spray of developer and give that a few minutes and see what they look like. Well, the crank is fairly well developed now. Just while we've got it hanging up, we'll do the alternative crack test method. That's quite a nice ring, so that tends to indicate no cracks, but it's not by any means 100%. We have got a slight mark round there, so I'm going to wipe that off and reapply developer just to see if that is a crack. I've also gone round this crank with a very bright light. The light that I'm filming in is really not good enough. I'll just put on the bright light so you can see. Well, it's probably washing out the video a bit, but that does give me a much better ability to see. Sorry about the flickering light, it's an effect of the bright light I'm using, but if you, and I've got my screwdriver, if you look just there, you can see the witness of where the plug, when the oil ways were drilled, that they were sealed very tightly with a plug, and you can, it doesn't show terribly well on the video, but you can actually see the full witness of the full circle there, where they forced the plug in. I've finished the crank. Several places I've wiped off, like here you've got like water staining from the penetrant. Wherever it looked like it might be a crack, I've wiped it off, done it again, and if the water stain doesn't come back or comes back in a different place, that indicates that it wasn't a true crack. If we look here, you can see another one of the plugs, just not as distinct as the first one, but generally speaking, I'm giving this crank, it's wiped off there where I've sat it on the rag, but I'm giving this crank a clean bill of health. I've checked the conrods using exactly the same process as the crank. Again, because it's a as forged surface, quite rough, we're getting a lot of this general pink staining, but there's no indication of cracks. The dye had come through very much in the area of the slit, and that's an area which I've been told is likely to get cracked. So in each case I've wiped off the very stained developer and reapplied. No signs of any cracks. I've looked all around these under bright light, so again I think we've got a set of good conrods and caps.